Welcome people of the World Wide Web. So it's a little random video for you. I thought of as anybody's following the series and obviously the pickups, I picked up a DVD last week that I've finally managed to watch. And I wanted to kind of build this big one. So as you can see, it's from it is Doctor Who the movie. And I am not a Doctor Who fan, so I thought I would clarify this and kind of put the basic guidelines down for what's going on before people in the comments or people watching it might think. So I am not a Doctor Who fan. Like, I have lots of films and movies and I've watched stuff, and this is the most of Doctor Who I've watched in one sitting. So I have rewatched this. I originally watched this when it first came out on TV in 1996, and that is about it. I have seen very small fragments and trailery little bits, and when I say trailers, like on TV, it'll be like, you know, Doctor Who on Friday night or whatever, Saturday night, whenever it is, and I might have seen clips of that. So I would say probably not even 20 minutes I probably ever watched of Doctor Who, everything that is out there apart from originally watching this. So take this out, that's there, you know. I do retain a lot of useless information, as my wife calls it. So I do know about the sonic screwdriver, I do know about the TARDIS, the Cybermen, the Daleks and stuff. So I do know, you know, Exterminate and all this stuff. I have heard and mentioned all this stuff, and my mind does retain a lot of this stuff. I do this for, it does seem to, for a lot of movie and toys and stuff that I wouldn't necessarily be interested in myself, or don't think I'm interested, but I do retain the knowledge, so I can, if it ever come up in conversation, I can at least hold a conversation because I know bits. So obviously this is all what I retained and some stuff I've read after watching the film. So even though I may sound a few times like I know what I'm talking about, I'm only going off what I've interpreted from other people or other sources, and they could be wrong. So, but anyway, so yeah, I am not a Doctor Who. This is the first Doctor Who I've owned. This will probably be the last Doctor Who I own, and that's not necessarily bad or a good reason. I will go into that later in the video. But the reason why I wanted this, so Doctor Who is a big thing people talk about all the time, but I don't really have much to talk about it. The one thing my mind always gravitates to is Paul McGann and this, which I didn't realise was the movie. Obviously, when I, as I said in a previous video, like watching Michael's movie place, he pulled the Blu-ray out, I believe he got, which made me aware that this was even existing. Obviously, I managed to find it quite cheap on DVD. I think it cost me under £4 all in. So good going for me, I think, on this one. So glad to have it into the collection. So I sat down and watched it last night, and I've actually really enjoyed it. So reading up on all the bonus stuff. So people that don't know, obviously, if I've got this right, Doctor Who began in like the 60s and stuff, and they have the mythology of, you have this what classed as an alien, and he is a Time Lord, so he's the Doctor, and he travels through time and space to kind of put stuff right. He has evil aliens and other stuff that he fights against, like the Daleks and the Cybermen. And in this instance, there is another evil Time Lord that he fights against called the Master. Now, the premise has been that the Doctor only has, so if you are a Time Lord, you get 13 lives, so 12 incarnations. I think this is quite an ingenious thing, because this is where they go on a series, so the series runs or whatever, and when that character doesn't want to do the role anymore, they want to move it on, they kill the character off and a new actor comes in, and that's just a new version or a new life of that Doctor, of the 13 that they have. This is, I think, the 8th incarnation. So it starts off with the 7th, Sylvester McCoy, I think is the actor's name, who does feature smallly in it. And obviously, I think it is, it doesn't actually say on the back. So, yeah, but I believe that's his name. If I'm getting any of this wrong, I do apologise. I don't mean to offend any Doctor Who fans out there. But yeah, so they were doing a new series. They kind of took it over to America. That's where they wanted to go with this. They kind of produced this movie film, and it was going to be a pilot, and this was going to spur on a new series that was kind of in America. They kept quite a lot of things behind the scenes, I believe, quite close to the core and everything that Doctor Who should be. I don't know that. I know there are a few things like the female relationship that the Doctor had within this. But yeah, but so this kind of starts off with the Doctor has imprisoned the Master inside this little chamber. He gets out, wrecks a time at the TARDIS. The TARDIS kind of crash lands at the time that it was planned. It's December 30th, 1999, so just before the Millennium Bug and stuff, and it's then the Master getting free, taking over a body, then wreak havoc. He gets kind of a minion to help him, kind of destroy the Doctor so he can take the Doctor's body, and by him taking the Doctor's body means that he kind of gets a new set of lives because the Master has used all his lives, which I thought was interesting, and a very interesting side fact of that. I was like, well, if that's the case, surely the current Doctor on TV, which is the gentleman from Sex Education, surely he's like 15th, 16th. I think he's the 14th or 15th Doctor. I think because David Tennant's kind of coming back as the 14th. But supposedly somewhere along after this film and the new one, he's got a new set of lives possibly. So okay, there you go. Random useless fact maybe for a lot of people. So anyway, so I watch it. So yes, Paul McCann, and obviously so the Doctor gets killed, and obviously then he has to stop Time Lord, not Time Lord, the Master, which he kind of does, and then that spurs on that. It leaves it open that, even though everyone goes their own way, that there could be more. And I actually quite liked it. I liked the special effects. It was very 90s sci-fi. It almost kind of gave me the feel of Babylon 5, and I have watched the new Babylon 5 movie recently, so maybe that's why I'm feeling that. There were aspects of stuff like when the Master comes down at the end, he's dressed like Ming the Merciless. That's purposely when the Master goes into the hospital. He reminds me very much of Terminator. So there are a few, but I don't know about the Terminator side of things, but the other stuff was accurate as far from what I could read behind the scenes. And it's very interesting they went that way. There were actors that they didn't get, and a lot of stuff changed. But I like this overall. I really hope there would have been a follow-up series to this, because I definitely would have watched it. It turns out that this whole Americanizing didn't go down well in America, but it actually was really, really popular in the UK. But then nothing was really done with the Doctor until like the 2000s. Whether this was a spur on for it or not, I know bringing a new Doctor. I know Paul McGann has reprised the role, which was quite good. I've watched a few clips on YouTube of that. But yeah, in all, I really liked it. I wish it was more. It had that definitely 90s feel, maybe with a bit of 80s action in there, like. And I liked Paul McGann, and I must admit I liked having that love interest kind of and stuff like that. I thought that was a good thing. I know supposedly the Doctor doesn't have that normally, or from what I read, but could be wrong. I like that, and it wasn't over the top. I thought it was well acted and well crafted. Like the sets and all that stuff were really good, and yeah, I mean, if this had a series to go with it, I definitely probably, and that led into the new series, that probably would spur me on. But the reason why I say if it's going to follow it, so I am not classing myself a Doctor Who fan. I watched this the first time it was on TV, loved it. Rewatched it again, really loved it. But I know that's as far as this goes. Would I revisit the old ones? I may be open to watch an episode. Would I revisit the new ones? There is so much of the new ones. Obviously, we've had Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith, Lewis Capaldi, is that his name? Or am I getting him confused with the singer? Then you have Zoe, and then the new one, and so there is like 6 or 7 Doctors there have been of the new incarnation stuff. There is so much out there to get. It is such a big thing to go into. Look, you've seen my collection. I have so many series like 24, Smallville, all these little ones. There's the last series that the last few series that I've watched. Supernatural, I haven't watched the last 3 series. CSI, I haven't watched the last 3 series and still need to get. And there's all these big series I want to go and finish. I think diving into Doctor Who is just, it's another thing. It's going to take me ages to get through and watch and be up to date with and stuff, and that's where I would want to go. And I've said that next year I'm getting stuff and trying to complete series stuff, but next year I'm going to hold off on buying series. I want to go back on, I'm going to have the 24 and a few other ones and be like, that's my plan to finish these. This is where the movies are. I say I've cut down anyway to try and start rewatching a lot, because I just don't want to. I want to get to the point where I have almost watched everything that I have, and then I can start. Oh, I'll get that, or I'll get this, or I'll get that, and stuff. Yeah, so maybe in a few years I may jump back into the Doctor Who universe. I'm not opposed to it. You know, if this is anything to go by, I don't know. This is probably seen as maybe like rubbish or something, and people don't really like it. But I really liked it, and on that basis, is something I, you know, this has kind of been my gateway into Doctor Who. Obviously, will it be the last thing? Who knows? Watch this, you know, a few years' time, I may come back and go, been to a car boot and I got all these DVDs and I start watching it, maybe. Or I may never touch any of the Doctor Who's and this may be the only thing I have. Possibly, there's so much out there, who can tell. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little journey of a non-Doctor Who fan watching Doctor Who. Yeah, please do let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video, you know, my viewpoints, if you agree, disagree with me. Maybe, you know, if I was to jump on it, do you feel I should jump onto it, in which order? Who knows? Otherwise, I've been Cypher Sigma. Hope you enjoyed this video. I shall see you in the next one.